Hello, everybody. Mariner here, and welcome to Net That Haul. It's Game Week 10. Timestamp. I think it's Wednesday morning at 6 a.m. in Singapore. Hey, what's he doing? Are you playing something in the background?
I hadn't muted the YouTube stream that I have that I'm chatting with.
Oh God. Anyway, I'm fine. Gabe's wrecking the stream. How are you?
I'm gonna try to save my ass by peeling back the curtain and letting everybody know that the last thing that was said before we went live was you asking me, what game week is it? Is it game week 10? Is it game week? You had no idea what game week it was. It is Tuesday, October 4th, and we're going early here, and we're a little sleepy on this stream, aren't we? I'm doing well, though, Mariner. How are you doing today?
I'm absolutely knackered, mate. I'm in the middle of an industry week. I've just had the Grand Prix weekend where Singapore's cricket club turned into the Everglades because of the weather. I think I've got trench foot, as Mike Alpin said. He's on the stream. He sent me a message. He said, "Chris, don't get trench foot."
Trench foot, huh?
Yeah, it was really bad. It was so wet. It was ridiculous. Love the Grand Prix, but it was pretty damp, I think I would say. But great that Singapore's back on the world stage. And so is FPL. We're back on the stage for this week, Gabe. What are we going to look at this week? We've got a last appeal for the Football Content Awards, haven't we? So we're going to go for that right now. We are in the final, little old Net That Haul. And we want your votes. Vote from your grannies, your mothers, your brothers, your sisters. Vote from anywhere. Get everybody to vote. Get all your company to vote. I have. In fact, I'm off to a conference there with 2,000 people. I think I might try and get all them to vote as well.
You can pay somebody to just go to every computer in every single office building and just be like, one second, like pretend they're a technician or something, just go and you vote.
I think we need our help, quite frankly. There's some absolutely amazing content creators out there, and we're just delighted to be even mixing it with them, aren't we? But we would love your votes, guys. So we've got till, I think, midnight on the 9th. I think, was it, Gabe?
Correct. Midnight on the 9th. They didn't say what time zone, but I'm assuming it's GMT.
Yeah, I'm sure it is GMT. So yeah, midnight on the 9th. So please go to the Football Content Awards. The link is in the comments, and it would be in the chat if I'd put it in there. But anyway, there we go. That's another story. That's the press up because I'm so bloody knackered this morning. Go to the content creators, hit Net That Haul, go to the editorial, select one of the fabulous choices you've got there as well while you're at it. And yes, hopefully our very own John Terry, who is red flagged, not yellow flagged this week, Nima, will be able to actually pick up an award for us rather than for someone else, or try to gate crash somebody else's award, which he normally does.
I mean, that's why he's on that mission. That's why he's there. So, yeah.
But anyway, talking about Nima, what's going on here?
So obviously Nima designed the thumbnail for the show. Clearly.
Yeah, well, clearly. Being an Arsenal fan, splattering 3-1 all over the screen. North London is red. I'm surprised he just didn't write North London is red and just leave it,
And just have that in red.
Yeah, absolutely. But I thought we were talking about Game Week 10, not Game Week 9. Anyway, there we go. That's my dig it in for the day. Anyway. Fair enough. Enjoy.
You're kicking the man that's down.
Yes. Enjoy it. Enjoy that result and get well soon, my friend. Mini league, Gabe. In fact, before we get to the mini league, let's do the haulers. Let's shout the haulers out, and then we'll get to the mini league.
Well, okay, let's do that. Let's go through our quick hauler shout for the week. We do the shout really quickly so as not to bore everybody, but our appreciation far extends what we can shout you here on the show. So just please know that. We'll start with the super haulers. We have Harbor Boy, who's also in the chat. I believe Harbor Boy is saying he's in New Zealand, Harbor Boy. So we appreciate his following. He's definitely a hauler. William Frick, who's also in the chat. Daddy Bot, also in the chat. He was asking if 74 was a haul this week. I told him hauling is a state of mind, Mariner. So he doesn't feel like he hauled. So he probably didn't haul. So we're going to turn that around for him. We got Greenback Golf, Sarah Gatsby, and FPL Robbie to round off the super haulers. And then here we go through the haulers. We have Akshay, Terse X, C Hunt, FPL Penguin, FPL DG Boy 88, Lindsay O, Tavindra Raj, FPL Casuals, Tom Gorsuch, Stuart Fletcher, Mr. Twister 242, Blonde, S. Scotters M, Firetog, FPL Teacher, Oscar Arias, Donny FPL, FPL _ Mike Halpin, also in the chat, of course, Sean Burke, Jack Daglish, Neha Kokami, Kevin Rose, FPL _ Saffer in South Africa, Podna, FPL Craig, and Dread FPL.
Yeah, I think
it's a family right there.
For some reason, Dom has vanished off the slide, but anyway,
where's Dom, the Black Dragon? I don't know where Dom is.
He was Dom, there.
We remember you. That's our family there.
Never mind. Let's have a look at the mini league. And I was having a bit of a problem with the slide earlier on, and I missed the team. I couldn't get the team on there to look properly, so I left it off in the end. But anyway, David Hood has now overtaken everybody with a score of 119. Well, that's pretty spectacular this week. Hell of a lot better than me. That's one thing for sure. And he's now on 583 points. Now, look who sneaked up into second. A crafty devil. Obaid, the one who person I battled with all last season at the top of this league is up there again. FPL Milanista, 104 points this week, 577, equal with Brian Pillman's Kane, Elron Cupboard, 577 points as well. Brokeback Mount, 10, with Dan at the FPL Lane, 4th, 573. Lots of score by Lottie Adele, 5th. Misclick Torgear in 6th. FPL Safe, Khaled Badaki in 7th. Fox River, Brad Curry, another regular runner, needs to hang on in there. He's played his wild card, 98 points, 571 in 8th. Noise FC, David Tyner in 9th. And Sané Side Up. I like that name. That's a good one. An old player, wrong league, but great player. Matt Pryor, I wonder if that's the cricketer. Anyway, 570 points in 10th. So there we go. Yes, that's the mini league. Keep going, everybody. It's still very close. There is not a lot in it. Madison put me up 150. In fact, Madison nearly halved my rank.
Yeah, same. Pretty much. He was responsible for the majority of my green arrow this game week.
Yes, he was certainly mine. And for those who had double Newcastle defence.
I felt the same way.
I only had Trippier. That's the only bright spark of the entire weekend.
I agree. That was great. I'm with you.
Oh dear. Can we use the downfall of Pope on the philosophy this week? Or not? No,
yes, it's perfect. No, it's good. That's a good shout. I like that. Especially since it didn't happen to us.
Yes, exactly. Let's go for it.
Okay, FPL philosophy for Gameweek 10 comes to us from Jean-Paul Sartre. He's a French existentialist, and he said, "Freedom is what we do with what is done to us." Freedom is what we do with what is done to us. And I think I was thinking of like our risk, how we respond to adversity a lot of times, right? And how we're often too quick to respond, and then that puts us in a deeper hole. And so the more we can just kind of back up and have a a holistic response. Maybe I think give a situation time to play out to have a holistic response, such that your response truly does give you some freedom, like freedom of choices, where you're seeing the information properly and you're seeing all of the choices available to you, instead of, say, people like jumping from Salah to KDB right now, knowing that with KDB's blank coming in, or something like that, So yeah, if
I mean, yes, freedom is what we do with what is done to us. I can't even say it, let alone understand it this week. You always comment on how, my lack of understanding of philosophy, really. Mike Halpin just says, so pleased that my evil laugh is now reserved for somebody else other than Arsenal.
Not Arsenal, it's true.
I was very impressed with Arsenal at the weekend, Mike, I have to say.
Wow, they were dominant, of course. But
I was very impressed having a Manchester United fan in earshot at the Grand Prix. It was right in the middle of the game. They got it. Anyway, it's time to have a look at the matchups. You're being way too deep, according to Chris Irvine, by the way.
I've been accused of that before. Unfortunately, it's the overthinker, I guess.
Absolutely. So we'll say hello to people halfway through. Actually, we'll do it differently this week.
Okay.
But before we get going, please hit like, please hit subscribe. If you hit the bell as well, so you get notifications. We are scrambling around trying to put extra content out, but we're either flagged, sick, tired, busy, or going on holiday. Again. Yeah, game's out next week. Mexico, I understand.
Back to Mexico next week. Yeah, kids are on fall break, so
yeah. So yeah, hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the bell. If you want to become a hauler, please do. You don't, we just love the fact that you support us. If you want to dip your hand in your pocket and give us a little bit more to help us keep the thing growing, that's wonderful. You don't have to. We're not going to be. We're not disappointed if you don't. We just do it for the love of the game, right? Don't we? And the love of the haulers. Gabe, matchups. We have the first one today: Bournemouth against Leicester.
Bournemouth against Leicester. I think this was the matchup that everybody that wanted Dominic Solanke was really looking forward to. So I thought it'd be interesting to review it a little bit here from a statistical perspective, just to let everybody know with the early show this week. There was no time to get into the tactic slides, the Grass FC slides, but do look out for the thread when I post a thread probably tomorrow. It'll have both. These are all just the data slides, and we can get into some of the tactics that kind of that's alluded to in the analysis. So I mean, the first thing I'll know as far as the chances, we have Bournemouth with 41 chances conceded from their left-hand side, and so that again, that screams Maddison on Leicester's right again in like one of the best matchups in the division. So a legit captaincy shout next week against Bournemouth. And let's see, we're going to the expected stats here. Just it's a little small. I'm just trying to see it. Okay. Yeah, so like Bournemouth, like just to get an idea of how bad Bournemouth are, they not only have the lowest expected goals non-penalty, but they also have the lowest expected goals on target. So the post-shot XG is 3.15, and the expected goals non-penalty is 3.65. So they don't create much, and their finishing isn't great, even when they do create stuff. So
you're using my Sanchezism.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm recoining it to it's a Solankeism.
Perfect.
It's a Solankeism.
Pictures are great. Please. Please.
Exactly. Yes. So they are on Leicester's side. They are second last for expected goals conceded non-penalty, and they've scored 14 goals with an expected goals on target of 9.21, which I thought was really interesting. Needing a Dr. Evil emoji on here for Mariner. Mariner does have more evil laughs when this early in the morning, or late at night. That's when they really come out.
It'll improve as I get caffeine in me.
That's right. So it's pretty interesting. Scoring 14 goals on expected goals on target of 9.21 indicates that they've faced some poor goalkeeping. So I mean, I'm not saying that's going to change against Bournemouth, but it's just something to keep an eye on. Maddison is still a fantastic asset, obviously. From the shots perspective, Bournemouth concede a lot of shots. So do Leicester, but Bournemouth doesn't really convert their shots. So that's why despite the almost equal NetxG number, Leicester's quite favored in the shots model there. If we're looking at the shots here because of the conversion. I think your FDR Mariner kind of sees them very equally.
Yeah, it does.
Just like NetxG, right?
Yeah, it sees it virtually. It sees it very neutral. It basically says that probably a 1-1 draw is a typical sort of result. Leicester away from home are not. I did expect them to. You know me, I love Forest, but I expected them to get tanked, and they did. But saying that, there is hope for Leicester. I think, and I think certainly with respect to Maddison, with those that 4 central zone and 4.5 on the right there, which you can see at the bottom of the screen, that's really, really hopeful. Bournemouth maybe a little bit down the left, but I mean, to be honest with you, the only thing I'll say about Bournemouth is it's not an easy place to go to. There is a little bit. They're a lot better at home than they are away, and that's why I think they'll probably get something. So all your Ward holders who didn't bench him or didn't sell him in your wild cards, I'm not so sure he'll keep a clean sheet this week.
NetxG's going with a 64% chance of a clean sheet for Leicester, but I kind of agree with you. I do see something here for Bournemouth at home, but I think it's interesting that the metrics here really line up. Bournemouth 1.43 for NetxG, Leicester 1.44, and then the FDRs are both 0.4 for attack and obviously negative 0.4 by contrast for defense. And kind of the only thing that really tilts it here, it's the zonal matchup from your end, from your metrics, and then from my metric, the shots, the shot model goal predictor. Those are the two things that kind of like really favor Maddison. They're screaming Maddison, both of those things.
And he's in great form. And I'll tell you what, there's a few things that this is something I purposefully did with my wild card. Actually, I went for there's Maddison and also, and I wish I could have got Bowen in there, because Bowen's another one. Players who are just teetering on the brink of World Cup selection might just sneak in. This is now the time to get on some of these players. They are going to be more motivated right now than ever to try and get into that World Cup squad. So just, it's a well worth consideration. The other one is Pickford. I went Pickford on my wild card for the fact that he is desperate to go to Qatar, right? And desperate to nail his spot in Qatar, more to the point. He'll be there, I'm sure.
I think he's pretty nailed, right?
He probably is, but I tell you what, that he's a man possessed when it comes to England, and he wants to be there. And
that's fair.
His attitude will be, I'm going to save everything with my face, my ass, with anything to get on that plane.
Yeah, well, I mean, they have to kick it at his face to save it. I mean, the shot has to go to his face if he's going to save it with his face. So, I don't know. Like, if with a good shot, it'll go in.
Anyway, that's that one. So I think we're pretty much set.
Oh, just really quickly, if Bournemouth, like we say, if they are going to score, I like them to create something from their left-hand side.
Yes.
Zamora at left back. Billing played at left wing in the last match, and I don't think it really worked out so well. But if he goes there again, they could find some creativity there on the left, and it could come from there.
Okay. All right. All right. Let's keep going. Chelsea Wolves.
Chelsea Wolves. Yeah, so some of these matches are just very uninteresting, and I found Chelsea Wolves to be one of them. But there are, I guess, a couple of interesting elements here. I'm going to kind of go to the analysis. Just start with the analysis. We have NetxG 1.04 for Chelsea and 0.87 for Wolves. But if you look at the shot model, it lines up like pretty closely for a draw. It's quite even for the shot model goal predictor, and the shot model goal predictor lines up with your FDR Mariner that sees it at -0.2, really -0.2 for attack and positive 0.2 for defense. Just really an even matchup across the board. So I'm wondering, like, why is it so even, right? Why is it such an even matchup? So Chelsea have a slightly higher NetxG, except for NetxG. NetxG reads them a little bit differently. So Chelsea has a slightly higher NetxG due to the expected goals on target disparity between the team. You see it there in the expected stats that says the XGOT, that Chelsea have an XG of 8.96 with an expected goals on target of 9.9 and 10 goals, whereas Wolves have an expected goals of 7.61. So not too far off from the 8.96. But their expected goals on target is only 3.28 with 3 goals. So where they have, Wolves have only slightly lower XG, it like tanks with the quality of the shots that they're taking, and it's reflected in the goals that they're scoring. And that's really the difference in the teams. Other than that, from a statistical perspective, we're not talking tactically or anything, but from a statistical perspective, they're really like almost exactly the same, other than the finishing.
Yeah. And Wolves are, for all their problems, they're fairly tight defensively, right? They're fairly tight, and they'll set up. They'll be hard to break down. Again, like you say, there's not a great deal in anything. There's just I did notice that Wolves have got a reasonable headed matchup against Chelsea, but I then look to try and find someone who heads the ball for Wolves. I couldn't find anyone.
I got someone for you.
Eh?
I got someone for you.
Go on then.
A maligned Spanish Brazilian named Diego Costa.
Oh yes, of course. He's not on the stats. There we go.
That's
a good shout.
Diego Costa for a headed goal against Chelsea.
Chelsea. Oh hell, that'd be fun.
Yeah,
that might get an evil laugh.
It should. He always deserves an evil laugh when he returns.
Well, that would definitely get a muha.
Exactly.
Okay, I think I tend to. Yeah, it's one of those games. We did call the West Ham Wolves 0-0, didn't we, last week? But it wasn't, thankfully, according to my good colleague who is just actually flying back now, who's a West Ham fan.
Yeah, well, Bruno Lage came out.
Tell me I was talking out my ass when it was 0 when I called it as a 0-0.
Well, if Bruno Lage did some weird things tactically, yeah, he's a little concerning. I think I'd be concerned if I were a Wolves fan. Which FPL teacher who's in the chat is a Wolves fan, so maybe we'll get his views on Bruno Lage here shortly.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll see what he says in the chat anyway. All right. So next one, Manchester City against Southampton. First things first. I'm running out of superlatives for Haaland. Completely. I am. I mean, you knew I didn't watch the Bundesliga, right? I knew he was a good player. The bloke's a tank, juggernaut. Call him what you want, but he's also a juggernaut with a deft touch. And I'm, as I say, for me, I genuinely think in all my entire life, I don't think I've seen a finisher like it, and that's as far as I go now.
He's a tank and a gazelle.
Yeah, I like that.
He's both. Yeah.
Yeah, he is amazing. Just, I mean, and it looks like, and we always said that Foden doesn't haul. Well, he did this week. Did you have him in your wild card?
No, I didn't have him.
Oh, balls.
I had him for over a week.
I know
My
you
wild
did.
card was set, and I got Salah FOMO combined with not wanting to lose the value in Martinelli. Those two things said, you know what? I'm not gonna get Foden. I'm gonna. Those were the two things that got me this time.
That'll teach you to listen to me.
Yeah. They're not unreasonable things, you know. I lamented them for a while, but yeah, and I'm not liking Salah right now very much. But I've made my bed, and we're gonna keep going.
But let's have a look at Manchester City against Southampton, because quite clearly, it's going to be it's a standout matchup.
Yeah.
For obvious reasons, but let's go through it, because there's a couple of little things in there which might just, well, I don't think it gives much hope for Southampton, but it might show that the stats are a load of crap, possibly, I think.
Yeah. So I'm going to kind of try to avoid the obvious of this matchup, right? But what I like here is I want to start with the shot model, and I wrote here in the analysis that there's an equal chance of Manchester City scoring 3 goals or more as there is Southampton scoring 0 goals. So it's 35% chance that Man City scores 3 or more goals if you add the 3 and 4 plus, and there's 35% chance Southampton scores 0 goals. Those two things lining up feel like kismet to me. So I don't make predictions, Mariner, but a 3-0 seems like just the easiest thing for Manchester City, like, in the world. And then we ask ourselves, well, if it's going to be 3, where is it going to come from? Obviously, Haaland is going to get his, right? Say he gets 1 or 2, and if there's something left over from that, where do we see it coming from as far as the stats are concerned? The zonal matchup favors the right side, but that is more a function of like KDB's creativity from that side than Foden or anyone else. And it's not really, while it started this season, Southampton's left side started as a weakness. Djenepo has improved, and then they've kind of solidified that. So, but the stats won't tell us who's going to play there or what their role is going to be. So I think for this particular matchup, you need like a Grass FC eye test analysis to pair with the stats.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I mean, when you look at this, and look at this a little bit deeper, you look at the zonals, and they're actually not that good for Manchester City.
No.
But the thing is, as we've been saying, the Haaland now, instead of, I used to have him pinned as a central matchup, but now because everybody's creating things from him from all over, I've just made him an average matchup now. I can't see the point of having a central one, but it's still not very good when we come to the captaincy. That zonal matchup is nowhere near the best this week. And it's very interesting, but Southampton actually have not conceded that many chances. I'm just looking for it now. Let me look at my notes. Where are we? Zonals. Yeah, no, I'm trying to find it. I can't find it.
While you look for it, I'll just mention the shots here, on just to kind of underscore your point. On the Southampton side, they're actually mid-table for defensive shot stats. So they're not the whipping boys that they were when we began the season, right?
That's right. Yeah.
That's represented in the shots conceded. And you're saying also it's represented in the chances conceded. I don't know if you have that up yet.
So I'm just looking. They're about mid-table for big,
right?
But actually, for chances, they're not conceding that many. But big chances, they're about mid-table. So I think what you'd probably say is that what chances they concede are probably big ones, which then means that you don't need that much in the zonals to be able to for it to happen.
Right.
Just depends, obviously, who plays for City. I mean, there was obviously the one thing which put me off KDB, which cost me 4 points, I think, last week, was the fact that the possibility he could be rested for this game. That will remain to be seen. We'll wait and see on the predictions, the hive mind predictions coming out probably on probably come out on Friday afternoon, I would guess, UK. If you were contemplating going to KDB and doing the little shuffle across to, if there's such a word, shuffle to KDB from Salah to KDB perhaps, then I might wait. Certainly, let's have a look and as well. I definitely wait. Let's see what people think.
And from Southampton's perspective, I just see like they create mostly through James Ward-Prowse on the right hand side, and Manchester City have conceded the fewest chances from the left. They've only conceded 8 chances all season, like 1 chance per game from the left. So I'm not sure if like that right half space will work out for Southampton, but FPL teachers saying that the whole kind of starting 11 has been revamped, and it's true. They have Bella Kochap, we've known Kaleta Carr started at left center back, but there was another left center back that started the game before. Name starts with an S. I don't remember his name. So they're strengthening a little by little, but this won't be a match.
No. I mean, we don't need to go too much there. By far the best matchup. Probably, we probably know what we're going to do when we talk about captaincy later on. I don't think we need a rocket scientist to work out where that's going to go again. And yes, I think it's just the risk of rotation for 1 or 2 players, and I think that's always the same old endemic problem with City, really, isn't it? Is getting the right asset for the right game. At this moment in time, every game's a right game. Newcastle against Brentford, Gabe.
Newcastle against Brentford. So again, another statistically even match with the slight nods of Brentford here. To Newcastle as far as NetxG is concerned. 1.28 for Newcastle and 1.07 for Brentford. The shots model goal predictor slightly favors Brentford slightly favors Newcastle, but only slightly. I think it's close enough to say that they are quite even from a stats perspective. And I think your FDR Mariner has a slight favoritism here for Newcastle, but it's really there's not much in it for you as well, right?
That's right. And again, I just think that Newcastle at home are a different beast to away. Although saying that, and this is where FDRs and things get skewed by things like red cards, right? I would have expected that result in a million years. I don't think any of us would have expected that result last week. But yeah, Newcastle, generally speaking, at home are a different beast. Brentford can always score. And that's why, defensively, they're also so it's basically attack over defense here for these. 0.7 for Brentford, 1.3 for Newcastle. It's absolutely 100% set up for Callum Wilson, in my opinion.
Yeah, it is. I agree.
Look at that central matchup for Newcastle at 4.3. If we get a nod that Mitrovic is out for any length of time, and I don't think he is, I actually think I'm going to be going for Wilson this week.
Yeah, I don't think he is either, but definitely I think Callum Wilson would be a logical replacement. Some differences in the two that I noted here in the expected stats. Newcastle's underperforming the expected goals on targets. They've scored 2 fewer than their shots. The quality of the shots would dictate. While on the flip side, Brentford is overperforming their expected goals on target by scoring a little over 2 more than their expected than their shots. The quality of their shots would dictate. Another difference is in the shots category. like they're quite close in rank. So Newcastle have the fourth most shots in the box, and Brentford have the sixth most shots in the box. But Newcastle have 91 shots in the box compared to Brentford's 69 shots in the box. So it's actually quite a big difference, and I think that's what the shots model is picking up, and that's what NetxG is picking up, giving Newcastle the slight favoritism here.
Yeah, I mean, Mike's asking, is it worth Isak to Wilson? I mean, I've not heard what's happening with Isak. I think I would just point you to the experts, Ben Dinnery. See what Ben says about him. How long does he think he's going to be out? Yeah, I that's where I'll be going. In fact, that's where I would be going, Mike. I wouldn't ask us clowns about injuries. I've no idea. What I would say is that, I mean, look, I really like Isak. I owned Isak, sold him immediately, got some points, and then ran away from him. But I mean, Wilson, to me, is just an injury waiting to happen. Is my concern. But you know, and then will they treat him a little bit with kid gloves? Still, will his minutes be managed? I don't know.
So on Ben Dinnery's site, I just brought it up here, premierinjuries.com. It says potential return the 16th of October. On September 30th, he picked up an injury in training with Sweden, but the scan doesn't look too bad. They're not overly concerned. It's a muscle injury, so it's a thigh injury.
Right, but saying that, muscle injury, all well and good being back, but then you've got a week of possibly being benched. Probably, it just tends to be a slow burner to bring them back in, doesn't it? When it's muscle, for fear of it going and becoming much worse. So from that perspective, hell, am I talking some sense here?
You're talking some Callum Wilson. You're talking some truth. That's what you're talking.
Talking Callum Wilson.
The truth.
Yeah, I may be telling the truth for once. Okay, all right.
Got some grass FC from Teacher here. Some tactics. Newcastle's left half space is going to smash Brentford's right half space. This is either a Willock or a Joelinton game. Your boy.
Joelinton, no. Oh, God, my chair's collapsed.
There you go. Collapsed.
Joelinton's my chair just collapsed. Anyway, let's keep going. Brighton against Tottenham.
Okay, this was one of the more interesting ones to look at. Brighton against Tottenham. Brighton with a 1.43 net XG. Spurs with 1.51. You look at the shots model goal predictor, and it's again pretty even. Brighton maybe slightly, Spurs slightly favored in it, but only by a couple percentage points. And then moving down to the FDR there on the bottom, I think your FDR favors actually Brighton over Spurs a little bit here, Mariner, which I thought was interesting. Brighton,
that'll be definitely to do with the home form of Brighton.
Okay, sure. So that's the home away. From NetxG perspective, Brighton have slightly better attacking stats than Tottenham, but the low shots in the box is dragging down their NetxG number. So just you see here in the shots category there, Brighton have 55 shots in the box compared to Tottenham 67 shots in the box. This is one of those things like Haaland, isn't that great because he doesn't get many touches. Brighton have 55 shots in the 55 shots in the box. They have 35 shots in the box compared to Tottenham's 50. My fault. So 35 shots in the box, and they have 12 goals in the box. Tottenham have 12 goals in the box with 50 shots in the box. So when you're talking with that kind of efficiency, and you're getting in now we saw some De Zerbi ball, right? This past weekend, and we saw their one touch passing by the center backs. We saw this happen, and we saw as soon as Salah charged the ball, 2 passes, and they were in the space behind him. Trent is somewhere in midfield looking for his head, and they just bomb down the wings. And this is going to happen.
So bad. He's so bad.
Well,
he runs around like a headless chicken right now. When he
right
gets the
now.
ball with a free kick, he looks like he could score. When he gets the ball at his feet, anywhere within 30 yards of the goal, he looks like he could score or create something. But anywhere else, he's just all over the place.
Watching him, it was like watching Germany beat Brazil, and Brazil just couldn't do anything right. And I have to say, I have to admit, I feel sorry for Trent. He looks like he's suffering. Like he really just does not know what to do with himself to turn things around.
It reminds me of Steam Packet FC in the Scunthorpe and District Sunday League on a Sunday morning with a certain Chris Turner playing right back after 10 pints of lager.
There you go. I don't know what to say. Like here's Brighton. Here's a taste of Brighton's efficiency. Right, against Liverpool, Brighton had 6 shots in the box. Right. That resulted in 6 big chances and 3 goals. Those numbers are madness. So I think we're going to get these kinds of numbers from De Zerbi. It might not be like a lot of chances or a lot of shots, but the ratio of chances to big chances will be pretty high, and the goals will be pretty high.
The only thing I would say is he asking players to do things that they can't do? One touch balls in defence, right? You know, it's Lewis Dunk. It's Veltman made a couple of bad mistakes during the game. I watched that game. He made a couple of really, quite serious howlers trying to speed that, but trying to play those decisive or more perhaps incisive balls. Where trying to get the ball moving. Not all these players are actually. It's going to take time for them to get to what he's trying to do, and that's why. Whilst Spurs is a negative fixture difficulty this week, I think they'll score. That's what I think. I think there'll be a mistake somewhere. I've got a funny feeling there might be a mistake in Brighton's defence, and I'm not sure I would be so keen on Brighton's defence.
So that I think Klopp made a big mistake. Unless Jota was injured, Jota absolutely had to start against Brighton. You start your best pressing player against De Zerbi and his build out from the back. Have Lewis Dunk, like you say, playing one touch football with Robert Sanchez in the box to try to attract. Like, it sounds absolutely absurd. And if Jota plays, Jota falls.
One touch off his bollock or something, or off his knee. And that'll be it, right? It'll drop to Kane. He'll rifle it in from 10 yards.
So what's going to happen against Spurs is he has to play Richarlison, and I'm pretty sure it'll be Richarlison and Son, and Kulusevski will get the bench because those are the best pressing players. Richarlison is a pressing master, just the way Jota is, and I mean, for if anyone's doing Nick Khan tweets on Twitter, he's doing this pick a player challenge. I think Richarlison would be a good player to pick for that.
Yeah. Actually, I see that. Yeah, that's a good call. To be fair, I hate him, but yeah, I get that.
Yeah, you do.
Just looking at some chats. We've got Andy in. Hi, Andy, and yes. I'm sorry I missed you in the UK when I was there, and I certainly won't be there for the FCAs, I'm afraid. I'm stuck here for a little while. He sees a fairly even 1-1 game, and he sees a number of saves. So I suppose there's the hope for Sanchez and Lloris there. I was very impressed with Brighton going forwards, I've got to say. But, quite frankly, is that just the fact that Trent was just so bad? And not just Trent. I'll tell you who else looks like he's stood in a bloody, pot of manure right now is Van Dijk. Are you there? He's still there. Van Dijk for me, just doesn't look at the races. Liverpool look like they're going to concede every week to me right now. I am so happy I've no Liverpool defenders right now.
There's no value in Liverpool defense until maybe 13 when their fixtures change. I mean, I could see that, but just for me, it's more than tactics or systemic or even opponent. Like it's a psychological thing for me that I see in those defenders, and until that changes, I'm not really that interested. We'll see about Trent. We'll see in game week 13. Tomorrow's problem, as I say.
Yeah, we'll cover that. We'll cover Liverpool later on anyway. So let's go to Crystal Palace and Leeds. Zaha did for me always. He was always going to. The moment I bring him in, he stops scoring. That's just Chris Turner's relationship with Zaha.
Yeah, I mean, Chelsea was always speculative whether he was going to return against Chelsea, I guess. And Zaha is a streaky player, right? So I hope this is not the end of his streak, because I just brought him in as well. This was an interesting analysis here because there's disagreement between the models. NetxG with Crystal Palace at 0.91 and Leeds at 1.48. Well, your FDR Mariner has Palace at positive 2.1 and Leeds at a very neutral 0.1. I wonder if there's some home away split, if that's a difference again.
Almost certainly. We really need to get these home and aways lined up for the two. We'll do this next time we get a chance. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, for me, I just look at this and I see a positive fixture difficulty for Palace here. You know, Palace now defensively are not the team they were from compared to last season. It's quite noticeable a drop off. But you know, again, and I think what you'll see here, interestingly enough, is that Leeds' zonals actually line up, don't necessarily match the fixture difficulty, which is an interesting thing. So I think here again, I think we'll see some. I think we'll see goals here. I've got a feeling. I am much more confident for Zaha. Obviously, Leeds no Sinistera. Thank God I didn't listen to who was it? FPL Banger. Oh, pick Sinistera, Chris. Pick Sinistera. No, thank you, Siva. Thank God for that. That would have finished me off. Yes. Anybody who picked him, unlucky. You know. But yes, Leeds' matchup looks pretty tasty with respect to the zones. Doesn't necessarily follow with respect to the actual fixture difficulty. But saying that, I'm not too worried about. I'm not so bullish on Palace these days at home like I was. I used to be very bullish on them, didn't I?
Yeah. Palace at home was always a difficult fixture. I mean, they've had some difficult fixtures at home as well, so their data maybe skewed a little bit there. But just like Palace defense isn't what they used to be, Leeds defense is also not what they used to be. And I think now they're like, at least statistically speaking, they're about equal. Not tactically speaking, but from a stats perspective, I think they line up. And then what I wrote here is that the shots model likes Leeds because of their shots in the six. That's the SIX there, shots in the six. And the NetxG likes the shots and the goalkeeper influence. Now, I apologize. I flipped the goalkeeper. That should be the other way around. I have the Palace data under Leeds and the Leeds data under Palace. But Gw10 has the fourth worst expected goals prevented, and then Meslier has the fifth best expected goals prevented. So flip those around if you're watching here in the YouTube. I was rushing to create all 10 slides, so sometimes there's some mistakes. And that's one of the reasons, again, we mentioned it last week, why Gw10 could get benched for John Stone if his XGP continues to if he continues to produce these numbers for his XGP. But and then the zonal matchups are baked in to NetxG. So I think that's why NetxG also favors Leeds over Palace, is that it's already in there in that metric.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. So let's keep going. West Ham against Fulham. Now, here's another. There we go. So now we've got Jared Bowen coming back into the picture. Finally, a double return. And yes, are we now going to see the resurgence of West Ham?
He got the points of a double return. Let's just leave it at that. He got the points, but not the actual. I don't know whether he got the actual return on the assist. I think
Yeah. I mean, look, I just look at numbers because I've been that out of the picture for that. I was at the Grand Prix getting covered in mud all weekend, as you know. So.
Okay, fair enough. So I call this one a statistically suffocating matchup with an extremely high likelihood of 0 goals and or 1 goal. If you look at the shot model goal predictor, we have Fulham 40% chance of 0 goals, 38% chance of 1 goals. West Ham 37% chance of 0 goals, 38% chance of 1 goals. So it's I guess it's one of those. We don't know if Mitrovic is going to play. I think your FDR sees it as, I guess, neutral for West Ham and negative for Fulham.
Yeah, and it'd be even more negative if Mitrovic isn't playing. So
Yeah.
But saying that, the zonals as well really don't like Fulham here. But I think, again, Mitrovic is another player who doesn't need many chances, just needs one chance, and he's that habit of popping up and scoring. So if he plays, then yes, I'm a little bit more optimistic for Fulham. I actually think they could get a bit of a shakalacking this week.
And I think West Ham is a little bit of a sleeping giant, or they're about to explode. Not explode because it's David Moyes, so they'll never truly explode. But the reason I think that is because of the shots and the expected stats categories there. So on the expected front, West Ham, they're the worst underperformer of XG with negative 4.61. The next worst is Forest at minus 2.92. So it's quite the difference in underperformance. Whereas Fulham, they're the fourth highest overperformer of expected goals non-penalty at plus 4.65. That's a swing of like 9+ goals of like overperformance and underperformance. And then if you look at the shots, West Ham are mid-table for shots in the box with 58. Fulham are also mid-table with 62 shots in the box, but Fulham have scored 11 goals in the box compared to West Ham's 3, having a similar number of shots in the box. So I do expect that to start to turn around for West Ham, especially at home.
Tell me another option if you've got a situation with someone like Isak. What about Scamacca?
Is he going to start? I don't think
he started last week, didn't he? Over Antonio.
I would say once does not a pattern make.
No, I know that, but saying that, are we seeing a changing of the guard? I am starting to think it's worth a look. Right, I'm not saying we'd go yet, but what I'm saying is watch that. I think he's firmly now on the watch list. He could be a very cheap way into that attack. Far cheaper than Bowen, clearly. And Antonio, is back to his couldn't hit in a barn door from a yard scenario again. And doesn't seem that interested, quite frankly. It's a shame. But for me, I quite like the look of actually. Quite like the look of him. Yeah. So anyway, let's see. I mean, obviously, very much dependent to watch and wait, possibly. Anyway, there we go. Right, Arsenal against Liverpool. So, right, here we go. Martinelli. Martinelli going to tear Trent another one? I think he will. Personally.
But not just Martinelli. One of the players. I mean, when I bring Arsenal players back into my team, I mean, Xhaka is one of the players that I will want in my team. Martinelli and Xhaka, they have almost the same potential threat, in the sense that whether it's going to be wide or in the half space. If Martinelli goes wide, he can penetrate from wide, or Martinelli can penetrate from the half space. If he stays in the half space, if he goes wide, then Xhaka penetrates the half space. If Martinelli stays in the half space, then Xhaka, what he does sometimes is he'll drift towards the center and even make it to the other side in the far post, especially if Zinchenko is pushing up. And Zinchenko being back, I think, pushes everybody on that left-hand side forward and puts them almost in like a 3-3-4 formation when Zinchenko plays. So Martinelli is going to be doing that all season. I think Xhaka is a great option, and if Martinelli has a chance to haul, then I think Xhaka will also have a chance to haul.
I mean, there's been this. I mean, I have this bias against Xhaka, and I'm clearly wrong. When you look at the numbers, I'm wrong. But I've always said he just looks like a walking red card to me, but he's not. But no. He just looks like he is, and I don't know. Maybe I don't know. You
know exactly what it is. Come on, you know what it is. Just have to admit it.
Well, I have to say, at that price, at the price he's at,
like 5.1.
You could do a lot worse.
It's amazing. 5.1.
Not till game week 30. I mean, for me, I think I wouldn't be rushing to make a change at that level. But if you were wildcarding in game week 13, wow, get on him. I suggest get on him. If he's still playing the way he is, and there's nothing much changes between now and then, and he's not on 4 yellows, which he could be, to be fair. That's the only thing which might put me off him, is if he gets close, if he got close to 4, if he gets close to a ban. Say that, you could just bench him anyway.
Isn't he on 1 yellow? I think he's only on 1.
No, he's not. He's on 2.
Oh, 2.
I was thinking he was on 3, and I was going to laugh at everybody at 3 or 4, and then poo everybody's Granit Xhaka.
That's what you wanted to be true. That's what you wanted to be true. You need to update that perception, as Miguel Halpin tells us.
You're absolutely right. I do. Yeah, and you've said it about philosophy, Gabe. You've got these inherent biases, and they're very hard to get rid of, aren't they, Harvey Barnes?
I got rid of Harvey Barnes. Gone from my bias, thanks to Siva.
But yeah, let's
go back to the matchup here.
Let's look at the numbers. So Arsenal positive, very positive, 1.8. Again, that as much. Arsenal very, very good now at home. Clearly showed that again last week. Liverpool, on the other hand, defensively are frail. Looking at the zonals, Arsenal's down the middle, very, very positive, 4.6. But as you say, number of players can actually benefit from that, not just Jesus. Liverpool, obviously, on the right-hand side, 5.1. I mean, is that going to change the way Arsenal set up to try and negate Salah? Are they going to, are we going to see a slight change to the way Arsenal play to try and protect him? He didn't play against Arsenal when I went. Mike gave me, I got Mike's ticket actually when they played at the end of last season. Me and Nima went, and Salah came off the bench, so I didn't really see them obviously change the way that they perhaps play, or obviously it's changed from last season to this season. But it will be interesting to see whether Arsenal set up slightly differently, perhaps whether it's Tierney actually instead of Zinchenko.
Could be.
For that reason. And that might change things. I don't know. But yeah, obviously Liverpool's right-hand side favours that. And we saw that Jota played in a 10 overnight with Nunez up top. So are we going to see Firmino again at the weekend? Highly likely, I think.
I don't know. It's tough. It all comes down to like what the managers want to do tactically, right? If you think of Arsenal want to control the ball in central midfield, and Liverpool want to bypass central midfield when they have the ball. So these are like completely contrasting styles. Now, if Klopp wants to win the ball back, right, and get the ball quickly to the guys up front, then he'll play Jota. But if he needs somebody to come into central midfield to show some kind of presence there, then it'll be Firmino. But I don't know how he's going to approach it. I got the Brighton game completely wrong. Apparently, somebody said Darwin Nunez was supposed to start, and he got injured in warm-ups. I'm not sure how true that is, but if that's the case, then I really got that Brighton matchup wrong, because I mean Darwin Nunez is not a person. He doesn't press like Jota. So
As we say, we've always got to be very careful about our inherent biases.
Oh no, he's given us reason to have a bias against him.
Anyway, what do you go? Let's try and predict this score. Come on, let's have a bit of fun on this one.
Okay. Well, I mean, the shot model lines up pretty evenly here with a high probability of like 1 or 2 goals. So if we're looking at kind of 1 and 2 goals, I think just based on form, Arsenal will dictate the tempo of this game, and Liverpool will try to play kind of a counterattack. I'm going to say 3-1 Arsenal.
Yeah, and I am going to go with 2-1 Arsenal. I do think Liverpool will score.
Yeah.
I've just got that habit. I think, Liverpool have always got that chance to score. And I think, that there is enough there to suggest that Liverpool can get something, in my eyes anyway. But I do think Arsenal have got too much for them at home right now. And particularly, with that, I mean, I can't believe I'm saying it, but it's wheelie bin of Van Dijk right now he's, as I say, he's really off it. And so him and Trent, Martinelli and anyone in that.
Think of the Zinchenko, if it is Zinchenko, Martinelli, Xhaka triangle on the left-hand side against Trent.
Yeah, I nearly got struck by lightning then, by the way. The moment I said that, there was an almighty flash of lightning. And is
that what you looked at?
I didn't pick it up on the mic. It's that loud. And so clearly someone doesn't like what I've just said.
You'll be punished.
Let's go to the next one. If the power goes off, you're on your own. Everton against Manchester United.
Everton against Manchester United. NetxG likes Everton, interestingly enough, at 1.22 compared to 0.91 for United. When you look at the shot model goal predictor, it's very even across the board. 37% chance for 1 goal for both of the teams is the most likely scenario there. We continue down to the FDR, and again, there's parity with negative 0.6 for attack for Everton, negative 0.4 for United, and the flip of 0.4 and 0.6 on the defensive side. So when kind of looking into this, what I said was statistically speaking, this matchup is a difference in goalkeeper. I wrote that is not nearly the entire story. So that you have to see like what they do tactically, because the teams are quite different here. But let's see. Manchester United, fewest chances created from the left, only 17 chances created from the left. And Everton concedes 21 chances from the center compared to 75 from the flanks. So you want to see more creation. That basically leaves Manchester United with only the right side to create. And when you get that predictable from a chances perspective, it usually doesn't. It means things are going to be not as easy as you thought. So what happens with what the tactical slide will suggest, and you can find that on the thread just as a reminder, is that Christian Eriksen picks up the ball. Like he links the Manchester United link their counterattack from Christian Eriksen to Bruno Fernandes. Christian Eriksen in the left half space, the defensive half space, links to Bruno Fernandes in the right attacking half space. And then that's why Manchester United's chances come from that right side where Bruno Fernandes receives the ball. But the things when that's all you can do, and when the other team is really sitting back and playing like just sitting in a defensive shell, then doing that kind of like plan A becomes very difficult. Plan B doesn't really line up for United, and then they don't really create from their left-hand side. So I think this is a tricky matchup at Goodison for the Red Devils.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's interestingly the Zonals. Manchester United's right, significantly favoured.
There. That chances created from that side is always high.
Yeah, Zonals, sorry, did I say that? So, yeah, from the right-hand side. Everton's left and centre. Headed matchups, one of the best ones of the week, actually, for Manchester United against Everton. You've mentioned that Ronaldo is the own. I was looking for the one who possibly got the header. Obviously, Slabhead is confined to the dustbin, quite rightly. So But so's Ronaldo right now. So I mean, is he going to come on and sneak a header late on and ruin my clean sheet? It's written in the stars, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's written in the stars to steal my Pickford clean sheet. I actually think Pickford could get a few saves there. I think Manchester United will give it a go. I've got a feeling they'll give it a go. I think Everton might catch them. I think Everton probably catch them on the break.
The thing is, Manchester United, they haven't looked good when they've had to do stuff with the ball.
Yeah.
And Everton are going to sit back on them and be like, okay, do something.
Both teams just play counter-attacking football and they just pass the ball around the back and it's 0-0. There we go.
I hope honestly, like, I'm not a fan of either one of these teams, but I hope we see some Eric Ten Hag ball. I hope we see what their plan A kind of work a little bit better so we can have a better idea of what they're trying to do.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's a player who obviously scored twice when he came off the bench in Martial. Obviously just coming back from injury. We said how interesting Martial could be in pre-season with a lack of Ronaldo. It looks like, again, Ronaldo is basically gone, I think. So I think in real terms, Martial could be an interesting option in a few weeks' time. But again, he's going to be treated very, very carefully to start with. So let's see how things go. But let's also just have in the dim and in the distant future, let's keep an eye out for Martial, because I think we could end up owning him before the end of this season. That's my perspective. Okay, Villa against Forest. Now this is it. Right, Villa against Forest. What can we say? Forest have got a positive defensive fixture difficulty. That shows how shit Villa are. They fell off my chair laughing when I saw it.
I don't know what to say about this fixture.
They're absolute shit. It's so bad. They are so bad. This is championship football in the Premier League. It's brilliant.
I mean, Villa, joint sixth fewest big chances conceded. I guess that's something. I don't know. I don't know. Second fewest shots on target against the fifth fewest shots on target. The shot model goal predictor, 37% chance of 0 goals for. They're all the same. They all line up. There's like no difference. They're both equally shit from a shot's perspective. Like there's nothing here.
It's absolute crap in it. There's just nothing.
Shit.
Nothing there. NetxG 1.16 against 0.75. Yo. Well, I mean, 37% of this. Look how green it is. 37% of 0 goals for both teams. 39% of 1 goal. All right, so they give it just a slight chance of getting 1 goal, but fucking broken clocks correct twice a day. And then you look at the fixture difficulty and you see that negative fixture difficulty, attack below defense, but Forest defense of 0.9 positive. I mean, I thought it was pissed. And then you look at the zonals, and I suppose there's a bit left and centre for Villa, but that's only because it's Forest. And heading back, fucking wasting time too. I mean, there's literally nothing there. It's just
nothing there.
It's going to be 4-all.
If you're waiting to hear what we say about this matchup, then I don't think you're doing FPL right.
I mean, do you know what? Forest at home, right? I'm going to predict. I think Forest are going to beat them. There we go. I think Forest might actually beat them. And I don't know why. I don't know whether it's just my inherent, look, many years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, love for Forest. Maybe it's going to come out, and my hatred, my absolute hatred for Steven Gerrard. So, right. What do we do? I'm actually struggling to speak. It's so bad, this.
I think we quickly move on.
Anyway, we've had a laugh about it anyway. So, yeah. No, do you know what? I really like Brennan Johnson. I think he's a good player. I really do like him. You know, he looks lively, and for me, yes. And Villa got a lot of injuries. Dean's out. Is Cash out?
I think Cash is on the mend. I can check really quickly, but
Sorry, don't worry about it. We can let anybody comment on it, but yeah, we'll. I don't think we need to go on too much more about it. Oh God! Right. Anyway, I'm pleased everybody's enjoying the chat. There's a lot of laughter in the chat going on. I think we're brightening people's late evenings up in the UK. So there we go. So there's the matchups. Anyway, let's have a quick look. So City are best. Palace against Leeds second. Arsenal against Liverpool third, and Newcastle fourth best for attack this week. Defensively, City against Southampton 2.4. West Ham against Fulham 1.1. Forest third best.
Villa are so bad that Forest have a positive defensive matchup. That's how bad they are.
The third best. Forest the third.
I still don't mind the Bailey start that Andy Martin's brother-in-law is considering. He's starting him over Trent.
Forest have got the third best fixture difficulty for defence this week.
Oh my God.
Can we play 2-6? Can we play 2 at the back this week?
We might concede down the flanks.
Seriously, honestly. If there ever was a 3 at the back week, it's this week. Look at those FDR matchups for defence.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about many clean sheets, did we?
Nope.
No. City, play them all.
Always.
Treble City defence. Watch them concede. Fuckers. 10 to 12, so including the others, including City's blank, they're still top. That shows how good City are with respect to fixture difficulty, right? Brighton 5.4. There we go. There's a little Trossard for you. Right, even 5.4. Liverpool 4.1. Newcastle 3.7. Why we possibly have the truth in our in our minds, perhaps, or maybe Willock or Christ on that.
I think Gameweek 13 wildcards are going to be really interesting because of Trossard, the Trossard factor. You can't have them all, right? The 8 million midfielders, the 7 to 8 million midfielders, you got Trossard, and just like how you're gonna construct that and piece it together will be very interesting.
You want him now. Looking at that fixture difficulty, wants him sooner.
I want Trossard right away.
I'd argue you want him sooner rather than later because actually the fixture difficulty drops off a bit between 13 and 16, not gets better.
Right.
So you have to look at it like that. You see Brighton's fixture difficulty is falling away. I keep going back. I keep going on about this. 13 to 16 is template City. We're back to where we were.
Yeah.
If you spunked your wild cards like me and Gabe, then, unlucky, you're going to have to make some moves. But saying that, I've set myself up in a relatively reasonable manner to be able to get back to that point. But yeah, I think if you're holding your wild card, it'll be a very good time to play it because that fixture ability swings quite nicely back in the favour of Manchester City. Look, 14.1, Liverpool 10.1, Arsenal 6.7, Spurs 7.4. Everton? Fucking hell. Everton 5.2. I nearly fell off my chair again. We're a Forest. Oh, no. There we go. Minus 3.2. Back to normal. Where are Aston Villa? Minus 5.4. They're pants, aren't they?
And one popular transfer will be Maddison out. Look how Leicester's FDR kind of drops off a cliff from 13 to 16. And, Maddison to Xhaka, for example, will give you cash to maybe upgrade to Jesus up front or something like that. And there you're getting 2 Arsenal players for that run-in, which will be nice.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, definitely. You can see that move, can't you? People who own players like Zaha, he's just going to tick along, isn't he? He's one of those players. I've popped him in, but I'm not mad on it. I'm not mad on him, but saying that is just talismanic. So I think that's all he
His role varies though. Sometimes they need him to link up with Ben White deep, but recently Ben White's like bombing down the wing and overlapping Saka. So
I meant, yeah, sorry, did I say Saka? I meant Zaha.
Zaha. Maybe you did say Zaha. I heard Saka. Sorry.
Why? Zaha's
sorry. Right.
You still got this. You're still trying to recover from that Forest and Villa matchup.
I'm still there.
The headed matchups. So let's have a quick look at the headed ones. So again, as we said, we've got Newcastle against Brentford has been the best headed matchup this week at 3.3. Wolves, United, and City. The only player I could really find for the headed matchups was Haaland. The rest, I was like, maybe Callum Wilson, I'm not sure. But yeah, I mean, Wolves, I couldn't find anyone. United, it would be Ronaldo or Slabhead, and neither of which would be probably on the pitch. So there we go. So I think, yeah, not a great deal to talk about. The headed matchups. And the zonals, as we've said, just need to not move the cap because it's about to knock my drink over. Liverpool's right, Leeds left, Manchester United's right, Arsenal's centre are the best matchups. We've already covered these. In the long range, if you have a look at Newcastle, in the longer range, 13 over Fulham, 7. Nearly double with respect to zonals going forward. Now, is Mitrovic twice the finisher of someone like Callum Wilson? Or is that... I didn't move it forward. Sorry, I thought I'd moved it.
I got you.
Anyway, thank you. So, yeah, on the zonals, if you look at that, you can see Fulham at 6.8 and Newcastle at 13. So there we go. Is Mitrovic that? It doesn't. The zonals don't really follow up with Mitrovic's threat, possibly, or returns.
I would say Mitrovic is more powerful than the zonal matchup. He will overcome poor zonal matchups.
That's fair enough. But it's a point worth making. But
yeah. I mean, it'll be easier or harder for him to do so. But I think if he's healthy, he's just too obvious.
Yeah, no, I think so, and I think it's just again, if they're going to get something, they'll get that result last week. I don't think we take much into that. I think that was just one of those weeks, and I mean, I just hope he was taken off because the game was lost.
Yeah, I hope so as well. He's so talismanic for them that what if they do anything, he will be involved. So, yeah, hopefully it was precautionary.
All right, should we have a look at the captain metric?
Yeah, and then people in the chat, if you want to start getting some questions ready, we'll get them ready for just after the captaincy here.
Yeah. Can you do us a favor and just check Discord, see if there's any questions in there? I'm not sure. Normally Nima would do this, but I haven't got around to it yet either. So just check that. Right, here we go. Let's have a look at the captain metric. Right. Captain metric. And there we go. It's Haaland. And it's nearly a sea of hundreds. Very nearly. We're getting very close to it, right? Minutes are not a concern for him so far. But, he's just... Maybe doesn't need the minutes to score 2 goals anyway, does he? He gets hat-trick in the first half these days, most of the time anyway. 82 for out of 100, remember, because it's percentiles now for minutes. Hauls, 100. Returns, 100. Form, 100. Fixture difficulty, 100. At any time returns, 100. Expected points, 100. And zonal matchup, there we go. This is where it's very strange, this. This is Southampton not conceding not conceding small chances, just possibly big chances, which doesn't help with. So that may as well be 100 as well. And there we go. 93, still up well high. It would be crikey. I mean, it's just amazing. The bloke's just a monster. And, at least we don't have to have much of a conversation about captaincy for the next few weeks. Maybe we'll have a conversation about it in game week 12.
Yeah. We can put it away till then.
Yeah, I think we can. Foden second, interestingly now, jumped over KDB. Foden is doing bits. And it looks like he's striking up quite a nice partnership with, man, you were saying that KDB is also striking up quite a nice partnership with Haaland. I think the difference is Foden's getting goals and KDB is getting assists more often than not.
Yes.
So I think that might be why we're seeing a difference there. You can just see that De Bruyne is probably more likely to get hauls. But yeah, and it just strikes me that the only reason Foden's above KDB here is probably because of the zonal matchup. Because he's probably more likely to be on. I would imagine he'll play on the left, which was slightly better if I recall. So, although he's not forced to, is he? He's not forced to play there. He could end up somewhere else, or it could be a Mahrez week.
And he did bits from the right this past week, so
yeah. So it doesn't really. I think treat the zones with a pinch of salt. I mean, it does take it into account. It does move things very, very slightly. But as we always say with these metrics, you've got to unpick them. It's all well and good looking at them and blindly following them, but I don't always follow it. In fact, I've scored more points than the metric this year because I haven't followed it from for some weeks. So it's improving now. It's starting to sort itself out. But interesting enough, let's look at some of the other players. Zaha sat there, right? Sat there in fourth. Minutes are slightly down. I can't remember why that's the case, but it clearly is. I don't know if was he rested or was he injured? Or was he? I can't remember. I can't remember why he was. I know he was injured, wasn't he, 1 week? He was out 1 week, so we won't worry about that too much. Hauls 86, returns 80. Fixture difficulty is very good. Anytime returns quite high as well. Yeah, not bad. Tony, Saka, Salah, Jesus, Callum Wilson even sat there without any hauls at all, obviously. But Callum Wilson sat there now, slowly starting to make his way up there. Maddison's not there. I think that's because of the fixture difficulty. Because, again, if I recall, the fixture difficulty for Maddison was about neutral, wasn't it? Away at Brentford, if I recall. Can you check that?
Yeah.
If you're a zonal man, I'm not against the Maddison. I wouldn't be against Maddison as a complete ultra differential. Metric doesn't support it this week.
So it's a 0.4 attack against Bournemouth away because it's away.
Yes, doesn't support it. The zonal supports it. The fixture difficulty doesn't, in my opinion. So
NetxG does though.
Yeah, he was a miles better. He was a miles better captaincy shout this week than last week. Miles better. I think we had him third or fourth last week.
Yeah, he was up there. I don't remember.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, definitely. So nothing too much. We don't need to worry about the captaincy too much. So it's a Haaland captaincy week. Another huge EO, no doubt. Pick your vice captains carefully, though. That'll be a more interesting discussion. Just in case, but let's hope it doesn't become a problem. But it could be quite interesting if it did. So, right, have we got some questions?
Not many.
That's good.
Which is probably good. Well, that's good, exactly. Dom Black Dragon, our hauler that wasn't listed, apologies, Dom, he says, Gaming 13 onwards, who has a higher ceiling, Cancelo or Foden? Can we drop Cancelo for Foden or as our third City option? What do you think?
Let's put the fixture difficulty up and have a look, shall we? Where was it? So 13 onwards. Who's got the highest ceiling? Cancelo or Foden? Cancelo or Foden? Foden 14.1, Cancelo 5.8. If Cancelo doesn't get any attacking returns, which he could do, but he's not getting many.
His stats wouldn't suggest it as either. So
I think he's Foden right now.
Yeah.
Maybe. But saying that, you know, Cancelo is nailed. And the risk you've got here is for all the differential that Foden is by having that extra attacker, are you going to get punished by the EO of City's defence the other way? You know, I like to hedge my bets with this, and that's why, despite the stats suggesting that, I don't think Cancelo's going anywhere in my team.
You could account for that by going Ederson in goal.
You could, yeah, you could if you're wildcarding. Yes,
Ederson,
yes.
Foden, Haaland.
Yes, that would work. But as someone who's burnt his wild card now and heading towards the World Cup now with Cancelo, I'm quite certain I can't see him going anywhere. So, but yeah, you make a good point, Gabe. Yeah, it's worth considering. And I mean, it's only 4 weeks before you can think about. You only got 4 or 5. I think it's 4 game weeks, isn't it? 13, 14, 15, 16. Then the World Cup. So the game week, the World Cup, 16 is the last game week before the World Cup, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's why I've set this up for just 16. For that reason, yeah, you could go with him for 4 weeks, and then change your team again with your unlimited transfers in the during the World Cup, right?
Yeah. Yep.
No harm at all. This World Cup's going to really cause us some fucking chaos in weeks to come. Nearly as much chaos as a Forest and Villa matchup. Anyway, what other questions have we got, mate?
Let me see. Here's a question about triple captain from Greenback Golfer. We'll do that another time. Triple captain. I'll get back to you on Discord on that one. Let's see. Here's one from Mr_Twister. City and Arsenal so far are dominating the league. Is there enough upside in keeping or bringing in more than 3 of their assets and field an incomplete team in Game Week 12? One thing that actually I was thinking of is you can have 4 of their assets and still field a complete team if one of those assets is Ederson.
Yeah, you said that.
So yeah, I think there's upside in that approach, but I don't know that I would be planning my team for an incomplete team in 12. If I could get around that, I don't think I would do that.
What else we got?
Let's see. So that's all from Discord. We do have a few starred questions here in the chat.
Well, you can answer this one. Let's go for this. Keep or sell Gross. You're the ones you've been looking at the matchups.
If it's on a free transfer, you got to keep. I think the Brighton attackers are definitely a hold right now. It's Trossard is the one that you want, so look to get him. But if you have Gross, you might as well keep him.
Yeah. Okay. Daddy Bot, should I hold on to Trent? If not, who else besides Cancelo, James, or Trippier? Well, most people have wildcarded into that treble, haven't they? I certainly did. You did.
Yeah.
Who else? I mean, look, defensively, I don't see much in with respect to defense right now. I think I'd probably hold him. I think I'd probably just hold him because there's no one else I really want. So, I mean, unless you wanted to pump some money into midfield, then what you could do is possibly go to somebody who's got a plum fixture in 12, who you perhaps need there. I don't know, Gw10, someone like that. Got a good fixture, I think, in 12. Saves you some money, and then you can pump that somewhere else. Maybe you can get to Trossard or someone like that from Andreas or something like that. Yeah, I'm not. I wouldn't be too objectionable to go 5 across midfield right now. Actually.
Yeah. Yeah, there are a lot of options in midfield. So.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's worth the money, and he's showing no signs of turning anything around.
I mean, the commentary. They saw who was it? Milner warming up. The commentator called it that Trent was going off, and it didn't. They actually took Tsimikas off. But they called it was Trent. I wouldn't have been at all surprised to see Trent going off at 57, 58 minutes again. And you can just see that's already happened once where the clean sheet got blitzed by him going off at 57 minutes, didn't it?
Yeah.
I reckon you see it again. So even when you think you're going to get a clean sheet, he's playing that badly. They're just withdrawing him.
Yep.
Right. Okay. Next one, Andy. I'm wildcarding in 13, so I'm selling Arsenal assets. I'm worried about Saka to Zaha backfiring this week. Should I be? I think that matchup's a bit concerning for me. That Zaha matchup is quite good. So, am I concerned that is Zaha going to outscore Saka this week? What was the Zonals looking like? Did they have anything down the right, Saka?
No, I mean that's you want to attack Liverpool on the other side. I think most of Arsenal's attack will come from the left, so attacking Trent on that right hand side. But I mean, the question is, should I be worried about Saka to Zaha backfiring? Kind of. I think kind of because you know that if Zaha blanks again, that wouldn't be a huge surprise. Like, what if his streak is over? I think it's a fine move, but it could. There's a chance it could go either way a little bit.
I've got a screaming child in the background. Can you hear her?
Yeah.
Breakfast time.
Oh.
But yeah, I mean, look, for me.
But the move makes sense because it's long term. Zaha has the fixtures.
If it was me, he's wildcarding in 13. I think, the blanking in 12. I think it's okay. I think it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Leeds and Leicester coming up, so yeah, definitely good.
All right. Right. Next one then. Do we trust the 6 million midfield bracket or the 8 million one if you've got KDB and Maddison or Zaha already?
Both, I guess.
Oh, that's such a teacher always asks us such tough questions, doesn't it? It always makes me so uncomfortable.
It's going to put you in a corner, Mariner.
As usual. Standing guard, give me a load of lines.
Yeah.
You must trust Granit Xhaka more. Look, for me, there are more 8 million. For me, there's more 8 million options than 6 million options right now. Martinelli is a very obvious one. Someone for me who I'm just going to hold. He looked lightning. He looked amazing last week. Really looks a completely different player. And it was actually telling he didn't get subbed just recently.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he's been one of the better players. But I mean, I don't know. I think you have to. I wouldn't see it in terms of brackets. I think I would actually look at them in terms of players. Like you have Martinelli, you have Trossard, and then you have the Foden, right? Who else? Martinelli, Trossard, Foden. Let's say Luis Diaz. And Bowen.
Yeah, and Bowen, yeah.
So you have to pick and choose like what fits your budget and what fits the structure of your team. I would prioritize Martinelli and Trossard because of that, because I just think that they're going to provide best value for the entire season than the others. And I think they're more likely to go up in price because of the price point that they're at right now. So I'd probably go there.
I like Foden. I like Foden. I think Trossard looks a very, very interesting option. I tend to agree with you. And I think maybe the saving on Trossard can, like you say, can be recycled somewhere else. Either we can put more money back into defence. We might be going back to 4 at the back by the time we get back to game week 13, or God bloody hell, wait for it.
No. I have to leave you to do the rest of the questions on your own. I got to go get my kids.
Oh well, let's finish off. Let's do. Can you do 5 minutes? Or maybe not. Don't worry.
No, I can't do 5 minutes.
Can you do 5?
I can't do 5 minutes.
Do 5 minutes. Bloody marvellous. We better get going then very fast. So, right, all right. Should we say bye-bye?
Yeah.
All right. Take care, mate.
See ya. Thank you.
Don't
see you
stop the stream. Don't stop the stream.
See ya.
Right, so I'm going to freestyle the last bit. So let me just go back. So, okay, what else have we got? Andy, Everton or Palace centre-backs from 13 to 16. Let me put that on the screen. What are we going to say here? So Everton, 0.8. 13 to 16. Palace, minus 1.3. But we need to look at the headed matchups. So headed matchups, 13 to 16. Everton, 8.5. Palace, 7. Not a lot in it, mate. Who do you want, mate? No, there's nothing in there. So I think it's just down to gut over that one. I'm on Gw10. I'm quite okay with that. Brentford attack moving forward. I didn't see them at the weekend. I think Tony's a solid hold though. FPL DG boy. I'm all right with them. Foden for KDB. Rotation. Take a look at the Hive Mind for the weekend. Foden seems to be in favour though and in form. Okay. FPL Pharmacist. Keep Bailey for Notts Forest. He was awful against Leeds. Yeah. All right. If you think he's going to start, I think I'd play him. But it's Forest at home. And as you say, as we said earlier when we were laughing, yeah, they're just awful. So maybe not. So unless there's anything else going on, I'm not sure if there's any more questions. If you've got anything else, fire it down there. If not, no, I think we're done. So I can get out of here too. Guys, what more to say? Thank you. I'm FPL Mariner. That was FPL Lens. Nima is still flagged. He'll be back hopefully next week. I think it'll just be me and Nima next week because Gabe's away. Please hit like. Please hit subscribe. Hit the bell as well for notifications. Pick us up on pods as well if you want to listen to us rather than look at our ugly mugs. And yeah, I think that's all we've got to say. Don't forget to vote for the Football Content Awards, which we've got till the 9th to do it. But yeah, apart from that, chaps, I think I'm going to get myself out of here. So all the very best. And we will see you really soon. And I wish you green arrows for the weekend. And let's keep in touch with him about this Forest against Villa game, because I think we might have a bit of fun with that one. All right, all the best. Take care. Bye-bye.